Even like one of my JO coaches, I think my sophomore year when I was like back in the gym over the summer, he was just like, Naya, you turned out way better than I ever expected because like it just wasn't looking good in the beginning. Like
This week, we have our first gymnast ever on the podcast. I feel like it's very fitting. I've been watching a lot of Make It or Break It. I'll ask you some questions about that show if it's real or not. But yes, Naya Mack, she is from Oregon State. She is a graduating senior this year. And thank you so much for being up here, Naya.
oh, no problem.
So talking about collegiate gymnastics, how is that like process like being, because you hear about all these other sports, how like, oh, you do like a AAU team, they find you out on like a random basketball court somewhere and they're like give you a scholarship. How is that like in gymnastics?
Gymnastics, I really don't know how other recruiting processes work, so I don't know really how to compare it to those. But basically, gymnastics, like, um, you video yourself in practice or at competitions, and you send those out to college coaches, which you can like find the information like on their website. And that's kind of how my recruiting process went. And then they email you back if they're interested or not. Some of them will actually like come out to your gym and watch you practice. And then if they like you enough, then they'll, if it's an official visit, they'll pay for you to come out to look at the school. But that's kind of like how the recruitment process works with collegiate gymnastics.
So how many schools did you send them out to? Like, where's there, you were like, oh, I really want to go to Oregon State, or were you just like, I'll go wherever, whenever?
I just knew I wasn't picky because, like, I think I started emailing college coaches when I was like in the ninth or 10th grade. So I didn't even know what I wanted to major in. So there wasn't like a like specific college that like I was just like, oh, well, I want to go to this college because they have this program. Like I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I'm like, I'll just go anywhere, honestly. So I think I pretty much emailed every school in the country, just trying to see if anyone was interested in me. Like I said, when I was younger, like I really wasn't that great at gymnastics, so my confidence was not the highest. So I really didn't know if anybody really would ever like pick me up. Um, but yeah, I just emailed like I want to say like 50 plus schools
Whoa.
every week. Yeah, until I got like, oh, like we are interested or we don't have any scholarships. Or if I just flat out, I'm like, oh, I don't think I really want to go there. Like, I don't want to email them anymore. I would just cross them off my list. So I kind of just emailed videos of myself every week from practice and sent those out to coaches, hoping to hear something back from them. So that's kind of how my recruiting process went.
You gotta cast the wide net and like maybe you'll catch a
Yes,
fisher.
right. Yep. See what we're going to get, You never know.
So was Oregon State the one, like, how did you decide on Oregon State?
So another great way for gymnasts to get recruited is through JO Nationals because that's Junior Olympic Nationals. And they have like a section where all the college coaches sit and they like watch the girls compete. That's how a lot of some girls get picked up from colleges because the coaches see them at the meet. But I never made it to JO Nationals. So after my senior year, and I unfortunately fell twice. And if I just had one less fall, I would have made it. But I didn't make it. So at that point, I had emailed like all the college coaches that I was already emailing saying, hey, like, because a lot of schools, like, by the time you get to your senior year, most schools don't have scholarships because they recruit kind of early these days. So by the time I got to my senior year, no schools had scholarships left. So I kind of just sent out an email saying, hey, like I'll take a walk-on position. And within 15 minutes of me sending that email, our head coach here, Tanya Chaplin, emailed me back and said, we'll take you. So that's kind of how that story started with me, like coming to Oregon State. So
I mean, Oregon's far from home. You're from Memphis, Tennessee, and
yeah.
that's not like an hour drive away from home. Like,
No.
how is that like feeling, going basically across the country?
Honestly, I didn't really like as a senior in high school, basically a freshman getting ready to college, I didn't really process like how far away it was. I'm like, oh, like it's on the West Coast. Like, okay, I've never been to the West Coast, like we fine. But it wasn't until like I actually like got here and like my mom and my sister were here, like sitting on my dorm. It's like when they left, I was like, oh, like I I'm really over here by myself. Like, okay, like there's no one that could come get me. Like, because even if they wanted to fly, it would take like 15, at least like 10 plus hours to get here. Or if they wanted to drive, that's like 3 days. Um, but yeah, I didn't really take distance into consideration because it didn't really matter to me. Because at the same time, like I wanted to, go away from home and kind of experience something different. But Oregon was definitely different and very far. So I definitely grew up a lot during my time here.
She's like, I want different. And then she got to
Yeah.
Oregon. And then she was like, oh, maybe I didn't mean different.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have a favorite apparatus?
I do and I don't. Like my favorite event to compete would probably be vault and floor because vault it goes by the quickest. Like you're done in like 10 seconds. Love it. And then bars, like I mean not bars, floor. I love to perform and I love to dance. So I enjoy that event a lot. But when it comes to practice, even though I never competed beam, I love to practice beam. So bars, however, I competed bars, but definitely wouldn't say it was one of my favorite events.
Why did you like to practice beam?
I don't know. It's just fun. I love just flipping on the beam. I mean,
I mean, it looks fun, but it also is like, that's like a 4-inch width piece of wood. Like that is ridiculous, the stuff y'all can do up there.
it's really fun. I don't know what attracts me to want to flip on a 4-inch piece of wood, but like it was the funnest one for me to practice. Like, let's just get up there and try something. Like,
I do feel like that's like the one when you're like a little kid, you're like, I want to try the beam. Like
yeah,
I feel like no little kids like, I want to try the bars and like flip
right,
across
exactly.
because like some of the stuff they be doing and like all I could, like if I saw it, I'm like, all I see is my face platting right into the mat. Like that is all I see.
Let me tell you, a lot of that happens in gymnastics. We may make it look perfect. At least, I mean, I don't think I ever did. But let me tell you, a lot of times I landed on my face until I finally got it right. I cannot tell you like 1,000 times, but it just feels so good when you like finally like nail that skill that you're trying to get. So it builds character for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially if you like fall on your face on like one event and it's like the first one and you gotta go do all the, especially if you're doing all around, you're gonna like, okay,
Yeah.
I can't let the team down, but I also just smacked my face on like national television and
Yes.
everyone just saw it.
Yep, it happens, but you grow from it.
So my question is like vault. Like vault seems like, it's the fastest one to go through, but how do you practice that? Like how do you make it not boring, I guess?
Honestly, I mean, you can say that about all the events because we do the same routine over and over and over and over again. And honestly, like it never really gets boring, because you're always trying to strive for perfection. Because I think you're like you're just trying to get like even if you have like everything down like in front of the ball you have your entry down but now you're trying to like work on your landing and landing like for ball is probably like the hardest like trying to get that stick like every single time so it's not necessarily boring because you're like always trying to fix something to try to get that 10 and it's kind of hard to reach perfection let me tell you so it's hard to get bored.
You talked about the 10 and y'all routines, you obviously do them all year long. But now from my limited experience from just watching gymnastics on TV now,
Yeah.
they always talking about like, oh, how they added something in their routine to like get the difficulty score up.
Mhm.
So when do you decide or when does your coach decide, oh, you're gonna add this into your routine?
It honestly just depends on what like you're already capable of like doing. Cause a lot of times just because like we practice the routine doesn't mean like so like say we have like let's just use bars like for an example. Like just because you see us like compete that routine, that doesn't mean that's necessarily what we're working on in the gym. Cause just like we do those, but then we do like extra skills. So it just depends on like what the team needs, if you're able to do it and that usually helps the coach make the decision like okay like I think you'll be able to add this into your team and obviously like before anyone puts anything up like you're probably going to practice it for like a week or two and make sure you feel like really confident before they like put you out there to do it but that's kind of how like that works.
Okay, that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
It's not as exciting, like, you just go out there and, like, you know, like, on TV, they'll just be like, "Okay, you have to do the blind twist landing," and
No, it's never just like, let's just do it. I mean, they're definitely like, I mean, I've heard some stories of gymnasts who like the coach is like, okay, let's just do it, but that person's already like capable of doing it. Now, like, let's say like for me, if they told me to go do like vault and go do like a Yurchenko double full, which is like a round off back handspring and two twists, I would be like, no, because I've never done that in my life and I'm probably gonna hurt myself. And most coaches wouldn't put you in that situation, but yeah, they don't just ask you to do stuff that like you've never done before. So
okay, that's what is exciting, but that also makes sense because, like, you know, don't want to have like all these gymnasts out here and all these like limbs flailing about, you know.
gymnastics is very like dangerous. Like if you think about it, because you're like throwing your body in the air, and let me tell you, come down at the wrong angle, or you do something wrong, you can really mess yourself up.
Oh,
Even
you
with stuff like you normally do, because like I was in practice the week before we went to regionals, and I was doing a skill that like I had been doing all year long, and I dislocated my elbow on something like I do every day. So like it's dangerous, like even with the stuff you know how to do. So
I mean, y'all are doing the thing. Y'all are just throwing your body every now and then. Like, okay, so I know I'm asking a lot of questions because I
no,
watch a
you're
lot of
fine.
TV, but my whole like I love like the sports, you know, like figure skating and gymnastics, but like how do you like it's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport. How do you like balance the two?
Um, I think that's like because like when you're in high school, is even though you're like on a team, you're really not. Because like it's so individualized. But when you get to college, that's when you really transition into like it's a team sport. Um, and I would say my freshman year, it did take me a while to, grasp like the meaning of it being a team. Like everything you do is like for the team. Because like let's say like because in gymnastics, like college gymnastics, there is only six people go up. And as much as you want to go, if there's someone who is like that can score higher than you, a coach is probably going to put them in. So at that time, like it's not about you, it's about how can we get the team to advance and be better, so we can go on to like the regionals or the nationals. So it's just something you kind of have to adapt to and learn, and you kind of figure that out as you get into your junior and senior year. Because I definitely know this year I really toned into that team this year. So just really like understanding it, but it's definitely a transition from high school to college to understand that.
Oh yeah, I mean it goes hand in hand, you know, with the maturity thing as well, because everyone goes out and they want to be the star, you know, they want to be
Mhm.
the one that scores the perfect 10, breaks all the records, but
Right.
you know, some people just got to be there to be the key players and to get
You're right.
the dependable routines.
Right.
You were on the student advisory board, student athlete advisory board at Oregon State. How did you decide you want to be that? This year you were the treasurer.
I decided to do that because actually one of my teammates that graduated, she was two classes ahead of me. So she graduated my sophomore year. And I remember she came up to me, she's like, Naya, like, I think you would be like a great fit, like for SAC is what we call it for short. Um, and you should like check it out, especially because you've been telling me how you like want to get more involved like on campus. So, I started going to their meetings and, um, and just like learning about like what it was all about. And then that year, I interviewed for the event committee chair. Yeah, that's it. Event committee chair, and I'm getting it. And so that's how I started to get into SAC.
Was there like something that really made you want to do it? I mean, you obviously said you want to get into things on campus, but obviously there's a lot of things on campus that we could get
Yeah.
into.
I don't think there was one thing in particular. I was just interested 'cause, like as a sophomore, I just knew I didn't want, by the time I got to my senior year, I never wanted to look back at my college years and be like, I like why like I didn't want to question like I could have done more. Like did I use all the resources here? Did I put myself out there to try something new and different? And as a sophomore, I still kind of felt like a freshman. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, well, I'm never going to know what's going on if I don't try to figure it out and get involved. So that's how I got involved with SAC. Even though I was kind of scared, I was like, I don't know how to like run these events. Like, I don't even know what these events are. But once I started, I kind of caught on and I really ended up enjoying it. And I like met so many different student athletes because when I committed to Oregon State, I committed really late. So I had missed some of the programs where, you get to know the other incoming student athletes that are also going to be in your class. So um, I didn't exactly have the same experience. So that was kind of like my first time, like really interacting with the whole student athlete body, which was really fun. And I got to build a relationship with our directors of student athlete in development. And it's been great. And I love just being involved with all that.
I know panoramic kind of deterred a lot of things when it goes to like events and stuff. But did you have like a favorite one you got to like host or do or be a part of?
I think my favorite event that I did, I can't think. Because I was looking forward to one. We call it the Bennies, and that's like the end of the year event where it's like they hand out like all the awards to different sports and different people. But of course, COVID happened. So I had to adapt. And I planned a whole virtual event, which was different. It was interesting. I'm trying to think, which one was my favorite? I think my favorite event that I put on is what we call the Other Side talent show. And basically, each sport does a talent outside of their sport. So it's kind of interesting to see like what people are going to do, and it's just a good time for everyone kind of to get together. So I think that was like one of my favorite events that I put together.
Do you remember some you can tell us about?
I know my teammates did like the hula. They did a hula dance because some of them are they're Hawaiian, so they kind of did something from their culture, which was really cool. I remember men's basketball did a rap that was enjoyable, and I can't remember what team. I think it was cross country, but they did like AMSMR. I think that's what's called, like when you eat like over the microphone or whatever. So that was really funny. Like everyone enjoyed it. So it's just like us just kicking back, enjoying each other's company. Like it's nothing like serious. It's just a good time.
It's definitely not, the next American Idol going on.
Yeah, definitely not the next American Idol for sure. And then we also had like guest judges. Like we had like some of our trainers be the judges, and they would give their comments after they had finished their act. And let me tell you, it was good. It was fun. Had a great time.
Yeah, if I was putting it on and they came to me talking about they're doing some ASMR, I was like, I have to find something else because
I was like, okay, like I think if that's all you look, do you, as long as it's not inappropriate, go up there and have a great time. Like if that's what you want to do.
I definitely would have like said, I was like, it looks like I think you misspelled what you meant to put down here because this can't be what you meant.
It was a little stressful at some points because like some people like had music and I was like trying to get the music together, like because they're like, we need it on this thing. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like I am not tech, like I don't know. So I had some moments where I was a little stressed out, like because I think men's soccer maybe did like this. I don't even know how to describe it. I can't even describe it. They were like, I don't know if you've seen those videos like on TikTok where people like balance the ball between like the two people.
Oh yeah, and they
like
like get up and sit down and
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah, that's what they did. So it's just like it was just an array of different things that were going on. So I definitely think that was one of the most memorable events that I put on.
Oh yeah, especially because y'all get to not be competitive at that moment. You're just having
Yeah,
fun, and also you get to see like people do ASMR and chew on a
yeah,
microphone.
yeah.
Because I feel like no one saw that coming other than them. They're like they
No,
did not
that's what I
have
thought it would
to.
be. I was like, you know what, this is gonna blow people away. They're not gonna be ready for this one. Yeah.
They're like, no one's definitely gonna copy our idea. We are one of a kind, yet we are. You also were the co-founder of a Damn Change this year. How did that come about?
That came about so after George Floyd was murdered. We Two of our directors of student athlete development kind of put some of us like in a group chat, and they're like, hey, like we have a Zoom for you guys so you can just kind of you know, kind of just talk about how you're feeling, if you want to vent or you just kind of like want to talk, here's like a space. So on that Zoom call, it's just a few of us like talking about like what we were feeling. And then, from that came the ideas of damn change. And from there, we started talking about like what we wanted to do, how we were going to do it. Just also talking about our own experiences that we've experienced here, like in Corvallis, um, with racism. And we just said we wanted to do something. We wanted to leave Corvallis, better um, than when we found it. And so that's how we started Damn Change.
That's some big stuff you had to do, especially because you get stereotyped as athletes for one way or the other, and then the fact that a lot of people complain about the things they don't like, the things they want to change, but the fact that y'all took the initiative of yourself and made it, even though you had the help, like they just did it so you could have someone to talk to, but y'all took the initiative to do it. Did you feel like it was difficult to put it together, or did you feel like everyone really wanted to attribute it and make the signs, do the march, promote it on all
No, it
four
was
days?
it was not difficult. We were 100% backing our idea, and we were going to get it done. We just worked with so many different people, and what was great about when we were making it, athletics was so like open to hearing our ideas. Anything we pretty much wanted to do, they tried their best to make it happen. So it wasn't like a hard process. But yeah, the process to making Damn Change was, no, I wouldn't say simple is not the word for it, but we didn't have any like hurdles. Like the athletes, like, no, we don't want that. They were 100% backing us with our ideas and helping us to get to where we wanted.
What were some of the things that y'all put in place, or y'all trying to put in place, or things like that too?
Right now we have a big focus on education. So currently, right now, we're trying to figure out how we can set up some type of how do I want to describe it? Seminars throughout like the school year for student athletes to attend, so we can educate everyone like on racism. Because you'd be surprised, like some people genuinely like don't know and don't understand. Because one way that we did educate this year was through our Black student athlete forums, and we just had like um, guest speakers come in and talk about their experiences. Some of them here, like on campus, which was really cool. But that's been the main thing that we've done this year. But next year, we're trying to get some like seminars put together with like stereotypes and stuff, like learning about those type of things, microaggressions. There you go. That was coming back to me.
So you said you're focused on, along with your athletes that are within you guys, did you ever, you know, feel like people were doing things that they might didn't think they were doing, or they felt uncomfortable? And do y'all ever have a plan to expand it outside of student athletes on campus?
Yeah, we definitely have a plan to. It is really not meant only for student athletes. It is meant for regular students as well, and we're working on developing a structure for next year because a lot of us are, well, not a lot of us are beginning to leave. Like me and another founder are getting ready to graduate this year. So we just really want to make sure that whoever we bring in continues the work that we've done to bring change to our campus and give Black students as well as Black student athletes a space where they feel empowered and safe to speak about what they've experienced and to speak up about things that are unjust. So.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to speak on your experience or anything, but you do gymnastics, and that is a predominantly not people of any kind of color sport.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
And I mean, as someone who plays sports that were also not, people of any kind of color sport, I don't need you to, like, you don't have to bring up an experience, or did you have, but did you feel like it was something that you were like, yeah, I want to make a change not only in my sport, but in someone else's sport too, so they don't experience the things I go through?
Oh yeah, 100%. But like in, I mean, I can speak on experience that happened during, because I think I was at like a booster event. This wasn't like in my sport, but I'll explain it. Okay, so I remember I had my braids in at the time. I was at a booster event, and one of the boosters, she was white, and she came up to me and she grabbed my hair and told me that it wasn't mine and asked me how long my real hair was and examined my scalp and walked away. And
No.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I would have lost all my Christianity that day.
yeah. And ultimately, like, you think, like, if someone did this, I'm gonna do that. But in that moment, I was just like, did she? Did, uh, did you? Did she just? Like, that was kind of like, because I was just in so much shock, because like you would never think, someone would someone would do that. Like, and so then, when I did go back to my team, some of them, like, just they understood, but at the same time, like, it doesn't hit the same, like, because that's not something they've ever had to worry about. And so when I started to talk about damn change and started talking more about, like, some of the racial things that I was experiencing, I kind of opened the door to the conversation, and because that's not things that we normally talked about. So we definitely, I'm not gonna say we're not perfect, but we're definitely working on getting there. But it first starts with education and, like, learning about the experience, because a lot of them, just that's not something they have been exposed to, because like you said, like, gymnastics is predominantly white, like, you don't see a lot of Black people, so they didn't hear about those experiences. So, like, I'm not happy that I experienced those things, but I'm happy that I was able to educate them a bit more and kind of open their eyes and give them a different perspective on the world.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because I feel like a lot of people don't. They just think of like racism. They'd be like, "Oh, you got spit on," or these things. But
Exactly.
they're like some underlying stuff that you
Yeah.
don't realize you're doing.
Exactly.
When you're like, "Hey, maybe I should probably not do that."
Exactly.
But you got to go through those things to learn through those things, and you're doing really good things at Oregon State, and you're probably obviously gonna do more when you leave Oregon State. But when I found out you were from Memphis, I had to ask you a question about
Okay.
the Memphis barbecue. Like, people talk about it all the time.
Oh, you gotta go.
Like, is it?
It's scrumdiddlyumptious. It's the best. Right up with the wings. Memphis has the best wings as well. Like, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. If you want some good food, you gotta come on down. So that's why when I got here, people are like, "Oh, the food's so good here." But I'm from Memphis, so, like, it just don't. Because people are like, "Let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings." I'm like, it just don't hit the way it needs. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. So I think I'm gonna stay at the house.
She was like, I'm gonna wait for my mama to like freeze me some and send me some in the mail because I just can't. Like, I'm
I
disrespecting
just fry
Tennessee.
if I want some wings, I'll just do it myself. Like, I'm gonna fry my own chicken. Don't even worry about it, because this ain't hitting the way I want it to.
I am disrespecting the whole entire city of Memphis, Tennessee if I go with y'all to Buffalo Wild Wings. Like,
I mean, like, it ain't bad, but I mean, there's just so many other, like, wing places in Memphis that are, in my opinion, are better. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but I think that there's other wing places that are way better than Buffalo Wild Wings. So,
I mean, I'm not even gonna shade you for the fact that y'all call barbecue a thing, and it's like, because like barbecue where I'm from, like I'm from North Carolina, and it's a meal, like it's pulled pork, as some people say, but barbecue in like most places is like a verb, like you go barbecue when we're like that's a cookout, you know what I mean?
well, there's
Or
barbecue, barbecue, like, I mean, I don't even see, when you said barbecue, I automatically thought rib. Like, I didn't even think about a barbecue. Like,
yeah,
I guess
we'll
I
be
see what
like,
you're saying
oh,
now.
that's a rib. Like, that's a rib, that's a piece of chicken,
I see
that's
what
a
you're
hot dog, that's a burger. Some people think barbecue is like a verb, like, oh, we're gonna have a barbecue. What? How do you have a piece of pulled pork, quotation marks, if you're not from North Carolina? Like,
I it's a
I
barbecue.
like one word has so many different meanings wherever you go to.
It's really amazing. And depending on where you go, they mean different things. So
But do you have a favorite spot in Memphis that you can tell us about if any of us decide to go out there?
wing wise, I would say Debo's is my favorite, but I know some of my other, like, my mom and dad, I think they make, like, crumpy wings better. And barbecue, Honestly, I mean, I know I'm from Memphis, so you think I would get out more with barbecue, but I don't. Or I mean ribs. My bad. I'm sorry. Ribs. Um, but usually I love Corky's. I know there's some other places downtown on Bill Street, but I've never been to Bill Street. I know it's sad, but and I always wanted to experience when I could go down there at night because they have like all the bars and stuff open, so you'd be 21. And now that I'm finally 21, maybe I can go down there. So, but I like Corky's, like I said. But usually when I eat ribs, I always go to my aunt because she makes the best ribs. So every 4th of July, I be at her house.
I mean, we can't knock you because nothing beats like the old grandma auntie cooking. Like, it's something
Right.
about that pot that's like almost black.
Right.
Like, who is
Exactly.
it? Should we really be eating out of this pot? Probably not. But is it good? Yes. So you are graduating this year, and I mean, you
Yeah.
obviously spent almost half your college experience in a pandemic. How have you like managed to still get the student athlete experience while also dealing with COVID?
Um, I probably was more busy during the pandemic than not because like we just had so many Zoom things that they wanted us to do. And also like after junior year, I just kept taking on like more responsibilities and piling stuff on my plate. So it wasn't like much of a transition for me because also like I didn't take a lot of in-person classes. I prefer online classes unless it's like for my finance major because that's confusing. Okay, like I need you to sit here and explain it to me, please, in person. But outside of that, I took most of my classes online, so it wasn't that much of a transition to me. It's just the fact that like I was at home like a lot more. Um, but there we still had stuff like in person, obviously, like when we went to practice and we went to lifts and stuff. But outside of that, it was just not as fun because we weren't able to do like those extra activities like um in person. But for the most part, I would say um, it was still about the same because I was just as busy and as tired as I was before.
You were as busy as her. You just didn't leave the house as much.
I just didn't leave the house this time. Like,
Did you y'all were able to have like your senior night and stuff like that, which is
yep.
very good because like I could not imagine, going that whole experience, and especially since you decided not to come back for your fifth year option year. How did you feel like you've done all you can do, that you took your whole gymnastics career as far as you could, that it was good? You don't have any regrets?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do feel like I feel very content, even though I didn't finish my season the way I wanted to. Cause like I said, I dislocated my elbow before we went to regional. So like I was laying on the ground with my elbow dislocated. And I'm like, hey, like when they pop it back in, can I still do floor? And they're like, Naya, no. But when I finally came to terms with it, yeah, like I did everything that I ever wanted to do. I always said like I wanted to end my career at the top of my game, and I definitely did. And there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't feel like I pushed myself like 110%. And I definitely know I made like the little Naya very proud. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way my collegiate career went, gymnastics wise.
Shout out to little Naya. May
Yeah,
she live
'cause let
on
me tell you,
forever.
she didn't start out too hot. Let me tell you, because even like one of my JO coaches, I think my sophomore year when I was like back in the gym over the summer, he was just like, Naya, you turned out way better than I ever expected because like it just wasn't looking good in the beginning. Like,
Like, I'm gonna just keep coaching you to take your mama's money, but girl, you might need to do something else.
did you? It all worked out. It all worked out. I was a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer.
We all gotta start somewhere. We all gotta
We
start somewhere.
do. We do. We do.
So with everyone, we do this little I say this, and you kind of just tell us a story or the word I say or the phrase I say or whatever comes to your mind. So
Okay.
first thing is gymnastics.
Love.
Nothing better than that. The second thing is money heist.
Good.
Yeah, I saw that on you had like an entire Twitter thread of you talking about Money Heist, and I was like, we're gonna be great. This is gonna be
Money
awesome.
Heist is so good. I can't wait. I think it's like I don't know what season it is, but I want to see how they're gonna get out this bank. I'm excited.
Like I'm not gonna lie, the first like 3 episodes, I was like, okay, like this is a long time for y'all to come rob this bank. But then when they
Right.
finally went to go rob the bank, I was like, okay, I get the hype.
It's good. Wait, have you not seen all the episodes yet?
Yeah.
Okay, you have. No, okay. I think yeah, because the last thing was they got Sis into the bank. They had tricked him with the helicopter. So I hope I didn't ruin it for anybody who's watching. I'm sorry if you didn't catch up. I just spoiled it for you. But I hope they get out.
Oh, what we love a little Money Heist plug up in here. And the
Right.
last one is Gym Stars.
Memories.
Good and bad.
It's a mixture, let me tell you. But yeah, some of my best friends were my teammates from there. Like we still talk like every day, and actually we all the majority of them competed at the same regionals that I was at. Like all of us were like in Georgia, so it was fun getting to see them for like 2 seconds, because from a distance, like hi.
Through a mask.
Yeah, with their mask on, of course. But yeah, a lot of good times. Really, my entire childhood was in that building. I spent more time there than my own house. So, yeah.
Okay, last thing. Just for all the fellow Make It or Break It fans, have you
Okay.
seen the show?
Yes, I have.
Is it accurate?
No.
I knew it. I wanted to believe that it was accurate, but I also knew it couldn't be.
No. It's really funny because like even like some of my teammates now like on the team will go and like watch it and be like, we were really into this when we were kids. Like this is nothing like it's nothing like that. Now, if you want an accurate gymnastics movie, go watch Stick It. That is accurate.
I love Stick It too.
Stick It is the most like everything is Stick It, 100%. Make It or Break It, like some stuff is, but like
it was very dramatized on Make It or Break It.
Exactly.
Like everything was over the top.
Yeah, like Payne when she was doing the shots, and none of my teammates or anyone I've come in contact with in gymnastics world, none of us have done anything like that. So,
because Sis is taking those cornerstone shots like they were.
I didn't even. I'm like, where did you get these from? Like, who? How did you know? No, we know. Not accurate.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot, and just Lauren just being that evil at times, moving the vault like that.
That was wild. That was wild. And that was like the second episode.
Exactly. Like no one does that. That's not like no one's doing that. Like I promise you.
Oh gosh. Thank you so much for coming on, Naya. Let everybody know where they can find you, what you got coming up next.
You can find me at my house. That's where I am because we are still in a panini press. But up next, obviously, like I plan on graduating in June. I plan on going to grad school. I'm headed back to Memphis, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I get into the University of Memphis. I'm gonna have a little summer job, which I'm excited to have, and that's about it. I'll probably go back to Gym Stars and coach for a little bit here and there because I'm going to be there, so why not? But outside of that, that's pretty much the plan so far.
Yes, y'all make sure to follow Naya on all the socials, all those things.
Oh, wait, and I'll still somewhat be involved with Damn Change here and there. So that's not disappearing. That's my baby. So
oh, you can't just leave it. You can't just leave it after like 9 months. Like you spent all that time. You can just
I spent a lot of time working on building Damn Change, let me tell you. Oregon State will not forget Damn Change. Right?
If it's the last thing she does.
It's the last thing I do, I promise you.
Yeah, make sure y'all go check out all her info and all the stuff in the description of the episode notes. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Be safe, have fun, and don't be afraid to join the convo.